Hey, welcome back to another episode of Simple Truth Television. Today is October 14th, 2021. So yesterday I did a video exposing the ritual with the person that ranted on the art on the Meek Mill bus. And a lot of you left a lot of comments under that video saying that you don't agree with the things that I said. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the phone lines and have those of you that want to speak out and give your point of view a chance to speak in this video. So the number is on the screen. The number is 646-986-0958. And this is my take on this. Basically what I was trying to say in that video is that racism, it does not exist. Racism to me is the same thing as coronavirus. There's a reason why Black Lives Matter equals 56, just like coronavirus. It's because these two things were created by the same people, by the Society of Jesus, the Catholic Church. You know, if you ask a regular person outside, does coronavirus exist? If that person is not awake, he's going to debate you. He's going to say, yes, it does. And he's probably going to have a mask on while he's arguing with you. But if you are a person who is awake, you're going to know, like, listen, coronavirus does not exist. And this is why, and why. That person might not even want to listen to you. A lot of you who left these comments in that page are just like the people who believe in coronavirus. If you believe in racism, you are still asleep. Just look at it this way. If you take a white baby, right, and you take, let's say, a black baby, and you put them in a room full of toys, is the white baby going to play with the black baby? Absolutely. They're going to play with each other. Now, when these two babies grow up, they're probably not going to like each other. Why? Well, because they're probably going to fall into the system, to the programming of the media, the family members, their friends, saying that, you know, if you're white, you cannot hang out with black. But when they was babies, they was playing with each other just fine. That proves right there that racism does not exist. You are taught these things. You know, the media, they do their jobs every single day to program people on the fact that racism is real. You know, stunts like this, when the guy's ranting about a bus with a black woman on the bus with her ass out, you know, these are the things that influence racism, that makes people think like, oh my God, racism is real. Look at that. He's right. That guy's right. That he's part of the problem. Not only was this rant, not only did it go viral on the day with 63 numerology, racism is 63, but if you listen to the rant, he did not address Meek Mill or the record company, the people really responsible for the artwork. What he said was, black woman, you should stand up for this. You see, the minute you address people with a color, you already become a racist. We are not blacks and whites. We are just people. But they have taught us that, no, you're supposed to identify yourself as a black man and you're supposed to identify yourself as a white man because that's the color of your skin. That's why we are so divided, because we are identifying by color instead of by gender. All women should be disturbed by the artwork on that bus. All women, whether you're black, white, orange, yellow, green. Doesn't matter what color your skin is. You should be disturbed by a woman bending over showing her pussy. It doesn't matter what color your skin is. So wait, so you trying to tell me that white women should not be disturbed by that? Really? Only blacks? Really? You see, that's why they do these things, because they know people think like this, because they're the ones responsible for the way people think. They have taught us that racism is a real thing, just like how they taught us that coronavirus is a real threat. Is coronavirus real? Let me show you this. There's a reason these words equal 56. Black Lives Matter, 56. Coronavirus, 56. Society of Jesus, 56. And last but not least, mind control. 56. There's a reason all these words equal 56. Not only is all these things being created by the same people, but this is how they control your mind. This is what the guy said in that video. He said, this is how they control you. He's telling you. This video that he's making is how they control you. That's what he's saying in that video. But you guys had I was surprised by a lot of the comments. I was like, wow, people really agree with this guy. This guy's such a plant. The minute you want to identify as black, you're gonna be marching with the blacks, and then you're gonna be looking at the white people like, oh, I'm not gonna hang out with them. You know, they're white, or I'm not gonna hang out with them. They're black. That's the mission accomplished. Mission accomplished. So I'm gonna open up the phone lines because I know a lot of you had different ideas than I do, so we can have a friendly debate. I don't believe in racism because I'm just awake to that. I know what it is. I see it all the time. White kids playing with black kids. It's the minute they grow up is where they part ways. The minute they grow up is when you see them separate. But when they're like little, like 2, 3 years old, they don't identify by color. So if you want to call up, the number is 646-986-0958. If you don't have to agree with me, we can have a debate. Because I guarantee you there's a lot of point of views that I might be wrong on this. But, that's why I wanna get your point of views. So call up. The number is on the screen. And let me just turn my phone on. Okay, so the phone is open. Now the line is open, so. Yeah, the thing is, the artwork, it was created by, not only was it created by a black woman, but the artwork has a lot of gematria in it as well. I mean, look at the police officer with the number 33 on his chest. Like, police is 33. So many things are 33, right? False flag is 33. Order is 33. Now, like, it's so obvious that the person who created the artwork is doing it by the numbers as well, because she put a lot of numbers in the artwork. She has another piece where she puts the big 99 on the top of it, right? Racism is 99. So clearly, she's doing this by the numbers, and she's being told this by who? By the 56 crew. That's who. This piece of art, this was the art on the bus, right? Not only should black women be disturbed by this, but white women as well. Okay? Why just black? It doesn't, see, that's the thing. They want us to, I don't even like saying that. I don't even like saying black women. All women should be disturbed by this. All women. Because if you have children, they're going to see this and they're going to be disturbed by it. They're going to be probably influenced by it. Like, oh, look, that's what we're supposed to do when we grow up. Dance on the pole with our titties out. Oh. Everybody should be disturbed by this. It doesn't matter your color. If you believe in racism, you are still asleep. If you believe in coronavirus, then you're lost. It's the same thing. It comes from the same people. That's why they always do it on the same, around the same numbers. Think about Ronnie King beat on the 63rd day of the year on 3-3. George Floyd. At the gas station behind George Floyd, there was a sign that said that coffee was 99 cents. The reason they do this is because those numbers mean something to them, right? Racism is 63 and 99, right? Eric Garner, I Can't Breathe, like Garner is 63 and 99. All these things, if they didn't want, listen, if they didn't want people to be racist, they wouldn't have all these false flags, all these hoaxes. They wouldn't do them. Let me tell you something. Let me ask you something, right? If racism is a real thing, how come, because I'm pretty sure this has happened in the United States. I'm pretty sure black cops have killed white kids. I'm pretty sure that has happened. Have you ever seen the country erupt after one of those instances? I've never seen it. I've never seen something go viral from a black cop killing a white kid. It's always the other way around. And the reason they do that is because they know that black people for years have been programmed in believing that we were slaves. Can anybody prove that black people were slaves? Can anybody prove it? If you're a black person and you're watching this video, do you feel like a slave? Be honest with yourself. Do you feel like a slave? You're in the same position as any other person. Now, when you go to the job, the boss might look at you different because that person was programmed into thinking that, people of this color should get it instead of this color. You see, the problem is what they have taught us. That's the real problem. So call in. I don't want to talk you guys to death. I have my point of views. I want to let you guys speak because maybe I'm wrong on this. But I'm just saying, when I see two babies, different color babies, they're always playing with each other. They're happy to be around each other. If racism existed, it would be from birth. I don't know. A lot of you had a lot to say in the comment section. I don't know why nobody's calling up. I'm pretty sure my phone is on. Let me see. It's on. So believing in the stuff that the media puts out is the same thing as the people wearing a mask. So a lot of you are upset at people who believe in coronavirus and not looking in the mirror and being upset at yourself for believing in coronavirus and believing in racism. It's the same thing. Okay, so nobody wants to call in. I mean, I don't get it. A lot of you had a lot of comments. Let's see. I'll read the comments so you guys can see what people had to say. So this person says, respectfully, I don't agree with your take. As a black woman, I definitely did not at all feel he was blaming black women. He was standing up for us and making sure we were aware of this awful picture. I wish more men spoke out against these types of portrayals of black women. I do agree with you about the George Floyd incident and pretty much everything we see pushed by the mainstream media being an orchestrated event. Even if this bus rant is orchestrated, in my honest opinion, it's a good thing to challenge the images of over-sexualized, ratchet black women that we always see. Publicized. Only a tiny minority of people understand or are interested in Gematria, so that's partly why y'all don't go viral. I'm wide awake to the agenda, but Gematria perspective, while it seems valid, has never drawn my interest. She said, this is what I mean. These people are still asleep. She said that Gematria seems valid. Okay. This is what I mean. These are the type of people that I have to argue with. That's why I don't even respond to these people. I'm going to take my first call and I'll read the comments later. Hello?
Just want to let you know, this picture they just put in.
Oh yeah, I'm doing a live stream. I'm doing a live stream right now about a different topic. Call me back a little later on.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, wants to talk. No, I'm not talking about sports right now. So let's see. He wasn't blaming black women. I never said in that video that he was blaming black women. What I was saying is that he feels like these group of women should take responsibility. See, that's racism. All women should take responsibility. Because you know what white women are going to do? White women are going to sit back and fold their hands and say, well, that's not our problem. It's not us on that bus. That's your problem. Go fix it. They didn't paint us on that bus. You see, that's the problem. Now, that's called division. See, if white, and I'm going to say white women because I don't know how else to refer to Caucasian women. Okay, I'll say that. If Caucasian women say, you know what? are I don't. A lot of you don't like to be identified as African American, but I'm gonna say black. But I don't like using color. That's just that's part of the programming. But if a white woman says, you know what, sister, I'm gonna let's go together and protest about this. Because I guarantee you, a lot of white women are gonna say, you know what, that's not our problem. That's not us on that bus. Yeah, y'all go handle that on your own. That's division. And that's what the Black Lives Matter movement is all about, creating division. Yeah, and the guy also said, I used to support Meek Mill. Not at one point did he address Meek Mill. Say, Meek Mill, shame on you. He didn't say anything. He wants the black women to stand up for this. Really? Well, the caller was talking about sports information. He wants to know who's going to win between the Dodgers and Giants. But I want to keep it on topic. Yeah, there's probably is a lot of white art degrading white women, but I don't think that's white women should protest against that. I think all women should protest against that. I think that's a problem. No woman should be disrespected or portrayed in a negative way. You see, what I'm trying to show you guys is stop using color to identify people. I actually have a friend that says, I'm here with, and he it bothers me every time he says this, but he's my friend, so I'm not gonna tell him anything about it. He goes, yeah, I'm here with Arthur, my black friend. That kind of bothers me because I'm like, why are you addressing me as a black friend? You see that's just part of the programming, but I get it. It's the programming. We have fallen into their trap. Well, listen, Mr. Freeman, if you want to call us up and talk about it, let's talk about it. Um, I was born in this country. I was raised in this country. I don't want to identify by a color. If you want to identify by a color, that's on you. I'm a man, and you're a man. And if you ever need my help, I'm going to help you. I don't care what color you are. I don't even care what language you speak. I don't care what's your sexual preference. That's just me. And I've been that way since I was a little kid. I don't care about your color. I don't care about black history. I don't care about white history. I don't care about any of that stuff. It's history. And a lot of you don't know the history. That's why you keep repeating it. Saying color is part of the history. Stop using that. Stop using color to identify people. It's just... Didn't Michael Jackson prove to you guys that it doesn't matter what color you are? He just proved it. Like he was still Michael Jackson before he changed his skin color. He was still Michael Jackson. He was still one of the greatest celebrities of all time, pop singers of all time. He just showed you guys. Look, I was born black, and now I'm white, and I'm still Michael Jackson. Oh Lord. Well, nobody wants to debate now. All these comments, but now I'm opening up the phone lines. Nobody wants to call in. You see? Just stop being letting the media program you guys, please. Believing in racism is the same thing as believing in coronavirus. Okay, going like this is the same thing as putting a mask on. It's the same thing. If you see a white guy that needs help, help him. If you see a black guy that needs help him. Don't say, you know what, let the white guys handle that. That's their issue. That's their issue. Those are black women on that bus. Let the black women deal with that. I'm white. That has nothing to do with me. the argument is that a lot of people believe that racism exists. A lot of the comments that was left on the video yesterday saying that I was reaching because racism does exist. Blah blah blah. I guess one of the person that left that comment actually deleted it. I don't see that comment here anymore. Or maybe a lot of these comments are being hidden because it says here that there's 50 comments, but not all of them are being shown. That's what YouTube does. They hide all the comments that matter. So, hey, somebody says call in or listen. Nobody wants to call in. I have the number on the screen. Nobody wants to call in and debate. So, I'll give you guys a platform, a moment to speak, but nobody wants to speak. So, I'm just saying, stop falling for these agendas. True speakers do not go viral. So Tachi526 says racism exists. Okay, prove it. You want to call in and prove it? Prove it. Prove it to me. That's because the Asians have been programmed. You see, that's not a good argument because if you take an Asian baby and you put them next to an African American baby, are those two babies going to play with each other? Ask yourself that. Of course, if you're going into a racist, once a person is an adult and he has been programmed to believe, it's just the same thing as coronavirus. Can you disprove coronavirus to somebody that's not awake, to somebody who's asleep? Probably not. It's gonna be hard work. Hello?
Hey, Arthur.
Hey, what's going on? Thank you for calling.
Yeah, no, I can't believe no one's calling in. So, why I think racism exists is if you look at the definition, it's someone believing they're superior based on their race and being prejudiced. So that's the definition of it.
Well, that happens once you're an adult, yes?
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's learned. Yeah, it's not natural. But
well, okay, so coronavirus probably has a definition as well. Does that make it real?
The coronavirus is real. The pandemic is not. So we're getting into like some.
Well, coronavirus to me, Well, I don't know why we.
It's a common cold, as it was coined in 1968. But yeah, the pandemic is.
But that's not what they tell us. They don't tell us that coronavirus is the common cold.
Yeah, but they're not. They're not God. They're not proof of existence or not, or else we wouldn't even be talking if we believe they're proof of something existing. But
what I'm saying is, does coronavirus, this thing that they say was created in China by bats, is that real?
While we have the bat quarter, of course not.
Okay, but if you go on Wikipedia and type in coronavirus, does it have a definition?
I don't think something having a definition makes it exist.
But that's what I'm saying. That disproves what you were saying about racism. You gave us what the definition of racism is, and said that that's why it exists because there's a definition for it. That doesn't prove that it's real.
Well, you're trying to get me in a gotcha thing. I feel like it doesn't need to be that roundabout. We're going to definitions and stuff.
No. I asked you, does racism exist? You said yes. If we look at the definition.
Yeah, but then you tied it to coronavirus.
Because it's the same thing. Coronavirus also has, and is done by the same people. Coronavirus has a definition. Does coronavirus exist?
Okay, I just don't see how that's proof. Like, you tie racism to coronavirus, it automatically goes with that. I mean, what does the chat think? Does that make sense to just tie it to that?
No, that's not what I'm saying. You're not listening. If you're saying that what is your proof that racism exists?
Based off this definition.
Okay, see, that's what I'm saying. You're basing it off a definition. Now I'm asking you, Is something having a definition prove that it exists? Because something like coronavirus has a definition.
It had a
Does
definition before the pandemic. So yes, the coronavirus exists. It's the common
No,
cold.
but coronavirus was not a thing before January 21st. It did not
It
have a
had a
definite.
definition before that.
Coronavirus was coined. What year was coronavirus coined?
Same year, the World Trade Centers were constructed.
Okay.
The same year Bush graduated.
Okay,
the
so
same way.
why did they tell us that it was created by bats in China?
See, you're trying to tie what they're doing to like my answer. I'm just saying it doesn't work like that. Like that's not a good argument to me. You're like, so they're doing it this way, they're showing it this way.
Because
So,
I don't understand. You saying that you believe in it. You're saying that it's true.
yeah, I'm saying racism exists. Some people have been, racially profiled. Some people are subject to racism. The
No.
definition of racism. You think that's not true? No.
So you're saying that so I answer my question. If you put a black baby and a white baby in a room, are they gonna play with each other?
I don't think that proves if racism exists or not. I said it's learned. I don't think it's natural. I think
just like how coronavirus is learned. I don't think coronavirus is.
I don't follow that. That's
all right. All right. Have a good one. You can't say racism is real because of this definition, and then say, well, coronavirus is real because what a bad argument. Sorry. So Goku LeBron, you want to call in, or you want to just type away? Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Is this Arthur?
Yes.
Arthur, hey man. My love and respect. Are you still live right now?
Yes.
Hey, so I just wanted to chime in about the whole racism debate and racism existing. And I think I'd say it does exist, but it's given to us as an idea, and then we go out, or the people will go out and actually act it out and really like kind of create it in that sense.
So it's like it's almost it's. I mean, does that make it? Is that part like that's what I was saying? It's the programming that makes it makes it a thing.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's not like people are born this way.
They're not born that way, no. But it's an idea that they're given. It's like a camp. These people are assigned to a mental camp, and then they get stuck there, and they play it out, and they really hurt other people with it. And I think that's what creates it real. But it is very unnatural.
Yes, that's okay. Great point. It is unnatural. But what I was trying to say is the people who are so-called awake should not be falling for these tricks. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like I expect somebody who's asleep to fall for it. Yeah, okay, you fell for it because you don't know any better. But people in the community who are awake should not be falling for their tricks, especially on the same date numerologies that they always use, dates with 63 numerology.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, I totally feel what you're saying. And, like, yeah, I have 2 young kids. And, I mean, anyone who's been around kids can tell that they don't view the world like that. But it's the programming, like you said, the conditioning, and then the stories that get planted in their mind.
Yeah, exactly. And then they tell us about slavery, like if any of us can really even prove that. Oh, yeah, black people were slaves, and white people were the slave owners, and they did this. I mean, can we even prove any of that?
Mm-hmm. No,
because I mean, you don't think white men are slaves in this country?
I think the majority of the population on the world is a slave.
So it's not about color, right? So why they don't tell us that white guys were slaves? I mean, we are all slaves to these people. These people control all of us. So just that idea that only blacks were slaves is just part of the programming.
Exactly, but even that idea in itself it's a camp. It's like a mental camp that they assign people into to divide them. So they say, oh, these guys were slaves, but you're not. So there's the division right there. Same with coronavirus. It's like, oh, these guys are vaccinated, but they're not. So they assign people a mental residence and divide them. And then they let those people who they know they rule over, they know they program, they know their fears, they know how they operate. They let them do all the dirty work.
Exactly. Good point.
Crazy. Anyway, much love, man. Glad to see you still
Appreciate it.
doing
Thank you.
things.
Thank you. See, that was a much better call. We are educated this theory about racism. We are learning this from the media. This is why they have to push it every single day. Every single day they have to create something else. For Eric Garner, George Floyd, it's the same thing. It's a wheel, and we keep falling for it. Hello.
Hey, is this Arthur from Simple Truth?
Yes.
Hey, how you doing, man? My name is Aaron Gonzalez.
Nice to meet
Listening
you.
to, nice to meet you, sir. Yeah, I don't really as far as the topic of today of does racism exist, I don't necessarily have a weigh in as far as the question goes, but I do want to say that as far as what you're saying, I do agree with it because the elite, the cabal, whatever you want to call them, they try to package or sell to us or like be a mind control. The whole idea of racism and why we should be divided by it. And I completely agree that if you are in the truth community, you cannot allow yourself to fall for that because I know some people who claim to be awake, but then something like not the George Floyd incident, but something like it will come out, and they'll be like, "Oh, see, this is a
Yeah. Well,
this
when
is
the
a
George Floyd thing,
white establishment."
when the George Floyd thing happened, a lot of people in this community thought it was real.
See, and that's just not acceptable. I mean, because I even was able to get some people who are asleep, who they're into the whole Black Lives Matter thing, and they vote Democrat, that whole shit. Excuse my language, but I was even able to show like, hey, like here's some holes of this story, and I even showed how Derek Chauvin and George Floyd were coworkers in Houston, and even they were like, whoa, like that's pretty crazy. But anyway, that's pretty much all I had to say. I've never called into the show. I like your content, and just wanted to show some love.
Appreciate you. Thank you for your take. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. This person just called. Man. Call this person right back.
Hello?
Yes. You did you call us?
Yeah. Hey, this is Mike calling from North Carolina. How you doing tonight, brother?
I'm great, man. Thanks for calling us, man.
Yeah, I just first off just wanted to start off by thanking you for all the work that you put in. I can tell that I mean, not just the hours on YouTube, but everything on your site and everything, and you're pretty I appreciate the generosity that you share with us. I just wanted to start off with that.
Well, thank you.
Um, I kind of agree with the caller a couple, I think it was like 2 or 3 callers ago. Um, I believe racism is like manufactured. It's not a natural thing, and it's a tool used by higher ups to divide us. And I was always thinking about if people, wise people, especially people that are like minded, if they didn't let the idea of race get in the way, a lot of people could come together and just be more powerful and unite as one instead of dividing. And the division is to make us fight each other. So, so they can be in charge and make it a lot easier for themselves. Because if everybody's fighting against each other, then we're not going to be able to be powerful as one and stand up for ourselves against tyranny and things like that. If we're destroying our neighbors and letting you know things like pigment on our skin control how we interact with each other, that's just how I think.
Okay.
And there's one thing I wanted to say too, that kind of relates to it, and so people use the term like elites often, I feel like we should, if we can, stop using the term elites because it's like it programs us to think that they're better than us. They're more elite. I think we should have another term, and I feel like they almost like use that term to, make us feel less than and make us feel like they're elite, but really, they're no better than anybody. And if anything, they're, spiritually worse off than all of us. So I don't know. What do you think about that idea?
I agree. I agree. I definitely agree with that. I mean, that's part of
And
it.
then
That's also part of it. You accepting to be lesser than somebody by calling somebody else an elite. You're admitting that that person is better than you.
exactly. So yeah, that's I don't know, and that's like a lot of people that are, part of the conscious community or people that are, trying to do positive things. They use that term often. And I feel like if we all eradicated that term for them, it it would just change the mindset. A simple thing like one word, can control, you know, the future and how people perceive other people. So if we didn't think of them or call them elites, it would, you know, mentally make us feel like we're just as powerful if we unite together as one. And
And
I
that's
think
what
that's
they
where that
don't
race
want.
ties in as well.
That's what they don't want. They want us to be in groups, just like similar to what they do to prisoners in prison, where they'll say, well, the Mexicans, you guys sit over here, the whites over here, the blacks over there, the Hispanics over here. That's what they do in prisons to keep everybody divided. But what happens if all those prisoners unite? Then the guards won't have a chance.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. If they're all together as one and didn't fight amongst each other as less as possible, and think about if you're just a simple idea. If you have, if you were going to go to war with like a group of people, like wouldn't it be awesome if they were fighting each other and they did all the work for themselves or for you, so you didn't have to, you know, work half as hard if your two enemies are fighting each other and doing the work for you.
Like all you have to do is sit back and relax.
Yeah, and just watch it and make money off of it. But yeah, I feel like if we all, like-minded Americans, obviously, or just people all around the world, we have eyes and we can see different skin color. But I feel like if we can look past that, think about how many amazing, smart men and women could come together and, you know, be extremely powerful. Think about how powerful that everybody that's not the elites or whatever that term, if they came together and there was unity and we didn't use something as artificial or just manufacture the idea of racism to hold us apart. So like I also think it's like really interesting that the George Floyd stuff happened like right during the Corona stuff. So
It's
what do
because
you
it's all
think about
together.
if it?
It's all together. It's all the same thing. It's all just a fairy tale. Think about this, right?
Yeah,
If coronavirus and racism, if they existed, why would the media have to implant it in people's brains every single day? If it's real, it's real.
right.
They don't have to tell us that the sun is gonna come out tomorrow. Everybody can see that themselves. But
Right.
stuff like Santa Claus and Casper and the Tooth Fairy, they have to teach kids this every single day so kids start believing in it. It starts from a young age when you start believing in things that you can't see or prove.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's
It took me a long time to realize that Santa Claus wasn't real. Because every day in school, I will learn that Santa Claus was real, and he only came out on the 24th.
right.
And it's the same thing they're doing to adults.
How so? Oh yeah, the metaphor with the corona compared to Santa, but they're doing it with adults instead of children. Yeah, I get that. I get the comparison. Also, the thing about slavery is they like. I remember they teach that a lot in school, and they beat it up in your heads. So imagine, like, I'm just making like an example of, but like, let's say me and a different race friend of mine were in school, and we're talking about kids, they're not racist, and then all of a sudden, we're really good friends, and we're in the same school class, and then they start talking about racism, and they show us slavery and documentaries, and then it like naturally is going to make a division amongst us from a young age.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to make the black people feel like uh, that they come from a history of abuse, and they're abused, and they're always going to be abused, and that the white people are, you know, the slave people. So it's going to it's going to create guilt amongst the white people, especially the young kids, because they're going to feel bad, and then like the black people, they're going to feel like that they can't trust anybody who's not black.
Exactly.
And it's sad that they teach that at a young age. And then I remember when I was in college, there was this class, and I went to all my classes, but there was this one class, this history class, and I could barely stand to go there because all it was about slavery, and there's like beating in your head like these graphic.
And to think about it, can anybody really prove slavery?
I'm sure they can prove that it existed, but it's existed in different cultures throughout. I'm not going to say the whole time that humans have been here, but slavery's been around for thousands of years.
Well, I think it's still around. I just think that it's just not exclusive to a color. I think it's exclusive to everybody that's not part of them.
Right, and yeah. So instead of you doing like working in a field and being a slave like they said that they used to be in the South and things, they still do that, but they give you a little bit of money so you feel like you're free, but really you're a slave to that money, and it's those debt certificates pretty much.
Yep. Well, I appreciate you, caller. Thanks a lot for your take.
Yeah, keep up the good work, brother. Appreciate it.
Oh, you too. All right, so I'll leave it there. The last thing I'll say is, if something exists, they wouldn't have to tell us about it every single day. They wouldn't have all these hoaxes to remind us that exists. They wouldn't be doing that. The reason they do all this is because they know that people are gonna forget about it because it's not natural, it's not a real thing. So they have to create these scenarios like the George Floyd killing and the Eric Garner killing to make people think about it again. I'll think about this. I would say before Michael Brown, did Black Lives Matter even exist before Michael Brown? No. Black Panthers, the Black Lives Matter movement is all the same thing. It's to create division, right? That's all it is. And a lot of you in the community need to stop falling for this. It's just nonsense. Well, thanks everyone for joining us today. And if you have anything to say, you can always leave a comment. I'll try my best to respond. Enjoy the rest of your night, everybody.